Good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 Europe EdTech 100. My name's Maria Spies, and I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of HolonIQ. It's our absolute pleasure to be hosting this event. And I'm joined on stage by Svenja Busson, who is the first chair of the European EdTech Alliance and the founder of LearnSpace. Welcome, Svenja.
Thank you, Maria. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you.
Wonderful. So today, we have about a 45-minute session. It's as usual, fairly jam-packed. Firstly, Sven is going to give us a bit of an overview of the European EdTech ecosystem and what's happening. Then I'm going to provide a bit of background to the Europe EdTech 100, the methodology, how we produce that list, and of course then launch the Europe EdTech 100. But most importantly, really, we're going to hear from the companies who are doing amazing things in the ecosystem and making an impact on learners, on companies, on institutions. So let's make a start. Firstly, for those of you who are not familiar with HolonIQ, we're a global impact intelligence platform. We deepen the vertical of education, of course, and we provide lots of data and information, market insights. We track the market, the organizations, the funding, the policies, things that are happening. And of course, as you know, lots of things are happening in the education and EdTech and innovation space. We have wonderful customers all around the world. But let's jump in. And Svenja, why don't you give us a bit of an overview of what's happening in Europe?
Yes, sure. Let me share my screen. I'm going to tell you a bit more about what's happening in Europe and the ecosystem that we're trying to build with the European EdTech Alliance that I co-founded 3 years ago. Basically, we want to be a consortium of trade associations. We are actually 23 members, so we have 23 trade associations and EdTech accelerators in our group. Coming from 15 countries and representing a total number of 2,400 EdTech startups. So we represent a lot of EdTech startups. Although we do not work directly with startups, we work with their trade associations. So for example, we have in France, EdTech France, in Finland, EdTech Finland. So in 15 different countries in Europe, we have trade associations dedicated to EdTech, as well as clusters that are bringing together EdTech entrepreneurs, EdTech startups, representing them on the public policy level. And so basically our group is coming together, working together, exchanging best practices, what's being done in Italy, what's being done in Austria, in Finland, how can we work together? That's the first thing. And then, we have some very big, ambitious goals for the European EdTech Alliance. I'm going to jump straight into it. So basically, again, why did we came together? Because we wanted to join forces. We wanted to share best practices, identify opportunities for collaboration, opportunities to help European startups grow inside Europe and build a European way of dealing with EdTech. And basically what we aim to achieve, we have 2 task force inside the Alliance. We have one working on the policy side, basically trying to represent the European voice towards the European Union, towards the European Commission, and basically try to work towards more interoperability, common rules to ease, for example, the procurement processes and the creation of a European market. So that's a larger, more ambitious goal. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We already have contacts with the European Union, so that's great. And on the organizational level, we really want to do some groundwork and try to help our startups, our members, grow in Europe. And for that, we have several big projects in the making. We want to build, for example, an EdTech map of Europe, and make sure we map all the EdTech stakeholders, EdTech startups in Europe, and we make sure to make them visible. And when a buyer is looking for a solution for adaptive learning to teach mathematics, they can go on our EdTech Europe map and have a look at, okay, what does exist in which countries. So we really want to make these our startups visible, and help the ecosystem to get to know each other and better navigate the market, basically. So we also have an amazing newsletter. I strongly recommend it to you. It's written by Jonathan Weiner. He's also publishing the Nordic EdTech News, if you know this newsletter. And so, I can copy paste the link in the chat. But I strongly recommend you to keep yourself updated on our monthly news if you want to, know more about what's happening in Europe. This is the source of information you need. So basically, I mean, if you have any questions, I can answer, but that's who we are in a nutshell. We are a consortium of clusters, trade associations representing EdTech startups, representing the industry. We want to build a European EdTech way. If you want to be part of it, or if you want to join forces with us, just shoot me an email at svenja@edtecheurope.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Svenja. I've got to say, I love the whole doing it the European way, because context is so important in education, of course. And so, that's fantastic. And the way in which the European EdTech Alliance and all those trade associations that make up that alliance work together and collaborate and share is really the envy of many, many other geographies in the world. I can assure you, they're looking to this sort of model to in their own ecosystems. And so congratulations. I know it's a lot of work behind the scenes to get all these things organized, but obviously it will reap rewards over the years, not even immediately, but immediately and over the years. So congratulations on all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Great. And yes, put in the channel all those links, and then people can follow them easily enough. So let me start by just talking a little bit about the Europe EdTech 100 and the 100 series, really. We do look at and track what's happening in EdTech all in different parts of the world. And the 1000 series, all up in 2021, there's 1,000 companies, 1,000 startups in this series in all different geographies, from Latin America to the Middle East to East Asia, Southeast Asia, India and South Asia, Russia and CIS countries, of course, Nordic, Baltic. So when you add up Europe EdTech 100, Nordic Baltic EdTech 50, and the Russia and CIS EdTech 100, we're talking about quite a number of essentially European-based startups. It is focused on, younger, fast-growing, startups. And so there are some criteria here. So typically, not always, but to make it into the 100, the company would typically, not always, be around under 10 years old, headquartered in European countries, but not the Nordic, Baltic, Russia, CIS. They're in different lists. They're pre-exit. They're not owned. They're not acquired. They're not controlled by private equity. They are literally startups, and they're not mature incumbents. So just a bit of criteria there. The team spend quite a lot of time, and I've got to tell you, it is getting harder and harder to find and to choose 100 out of a list really of thousands of amazing startups who are doing very, very interesting things and making huge impacts now more than ever. And so it's getting more difficult, and I'm thinking we need to up the numbers to the Europe EdTech 200 or something. We'll see how that goes over the years, but we do look at the market, the quality and attractiveness of the market in which these startups are operating, not necessarily geographic market, but the vertical market, the product itself, the quality and uniqueness, its demonstrated impact, the team, diversity, expertise, capital and the ability to attract capital either through revenue or through external funding, and the momentum of the organisation. And that's the scoring rubric essentially, and then there's a whole process to go through there. But without further ado, congratulations to the teams who are on this map. This is the 2021 Europe EdTech 100. And so obviously we'll publish this. You won't be able to take it in the blink of an eye, but Congratulations to those teams. There are 100 teams there across workforce and skills, advanced technology, the game, simulation, virtual augmented reality. Management systems are always, strong. They are those who are supporting institutions, whether K-12 or higher ed or pre-K, in running those institutions and so on. Online learning and tutoring and test prep. Quite strong in STEAM as well, even more so now. Digital content and STEAM particularly, and language learning, of course, is always very strong in the European markets. We've done a little bit of analysis of this 100 and compared it to last year. So let me run through that before we get to the speakers of tonight. So firstly, in terms of the makeup, 42% of all those startups in the 100 are in the workforce sector or servicing the workforce sector. And that's, that's very strong. It's a little less than last year, but workforce is always strong and in EdTech generally and EdTech funding as well. I think EdTech funding generally in Europe is a little higher than gets a little more percentage of venture capital funding, at least, over 42%. But what we see here is a relatively balanced cohort. It's great to see 25% in higher education. We don't often see that actually in different parts of the world. It's very strong. And that says something about what's going on in the European system. And Svenja, please jump in with any comments or any insights that you've got that relate to this as well. It's fairly similar to last year, but it's strength around, and I really love to see the growth in pre-K. I mean, pre-K learning is so important. And usually we're sitting around different parts of the world, 2 or 3%, but 6% is very strong, and that's wonderful. And what we've done a little bit of a split this year on business model. And so direct to consumer here is around 60%. That's interesting and growing. However, what's for me insightful is that the B2B structure in Europe is much, much greater than many other parts of the world. In other parts of the world, we see, 9, 8, 10, 12% B2B models, and then, 80, 90% direct to consumer. And so, again, this says something very clearly about the market, obviously strong, high quality institutions, public education, and, a growing market for EdTech to support that those institutions. So I think this is a very great sign, actually. It's a similar profile to last year. Let's jump into age. And so again, sort of 40%, the 4 to 6 year old. The 4 to 6 year old startup is the growth stage group where they have traction, they have market fit, they're attracting capital, they're growing. And so, that's fantastic. It's a relatively, I guess there's a lot of maturity also in this ecosystem, with a third being 7 to 9 years old and a couple over 10 as well. But under 3 years old is tough at the moment everywhere in all geographies, because to be under 3 years old, really you need to have launched either just before or pretty much all the way through COVID, and that's been very difficult. We do expect to see and hope to see a higher proportion of younger startups coming through over the next few years as the demand for EdTech grows, and to see many more sort of startups making that into the 100. And then when you dive down below the K-12 higher ed sector split in the subsectors, what we see here is a sort of almost a beautifully balanced donut chart where, strength in digital content and online learning. I mean, digital content has gone so well globally, especially in K-12, as solutions for good digital content in learning have been exploding. Of course, online learning is very broad, and so that's quite big. Management systems is that infrastructure, K-12 and higher ed, infrastructure for learning, supporting institutions. But look at STEAM. I mean, again, not only in K-12 but dominantly in K-12, STEAM learning and especially the sort of the arts side of it in particular. But generally that's sort of growing for sure. But otherwise, we've got a fairly balanced cohort, and STEAM has grown from last year as well. There's a lot more happening there. It's related to the digital content as well. Moving forward into the countries, and so here, I mean, lots of different geographies in Europe, of course, but UK, France, and Germany are the big both economies, and also they're larger and they've got more share of the slice of the pie, so to speak. 35% in the UK, 19 and 18 in France and Germany. Spain is very interesting. So last year it was 4% and this year 8%, and it's great to see also Hungary and Belgium and Ireland and Poland being represented, Netherlands, etc., being represented in the group. Just before I go on, because we're going to hear from speakers soon, which is much more interesting probably than me talking. Sven, have you got any comments about what we see here in this sort of analysis before we jump in?
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting analysis, and actually the European market is extremely complex to penetrate when we talk about K-12. So I'm not surprised that we have a big share of B2C, direct to consumer, because it's very hard to penetrate the school system. At the same time, workforce, higher ed is growing. I see that, and we're very, I think, especially in France, we are very talented for bringing in, startups into the corporate world and selling to, corporate learning solutions. So that should make up for the B2B part, at least. And no, very interesting analysis.
Great, thanks, Fenya. Okay, so back to the 100 again. We'll be publishing this on the website, today, so you can see that fairly soon. But firstly, the most important part of the session is hearing from some of the companies who are on this map. And so, we have 4 companies presenting tonight, just short presentations about who they are, what they do, the solution they have, what problems they're solving, etc. The first speaker who's already joined us is Dorka Horvath. Dorka is CEO and co-founder of Booker Kids. Welcome, Dorka. Welcome to stage.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here and on the list. For sure.
Congratulations.
It's amazing. It's like a dream coming true right now. So I'm
wonderful.
super happy to present you a solution today.
Fantastic. We'll hear from you in one sec. So next, Brenna O'Neill from Genially is going to be speaking. Third, we'll hear from Maurice Kudir from Study Smarter. And finally, Marie Marouz from the CEO of Marbotic. So these are the 4 presentations today. Oh, there we go. There are all the speakers. And it's just going to be wonderful to hear a short pitch from each one of them. Let me just firstly share the presentation. So Dorka, you can jump in and tell everyone all about Booker Kids. 1 second. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maria. So we at Booker Kids believe that reading makes a better future possible for every kid. But the problem is that kids don't read because the traditional books are not engaging enough, while age-appropriate, tested, and safe digital content is difficult to access. So we are about to providing super high-quality digital reading materials, because reading is essential, especially in the digital age. According to the last Pearce research, more than 50% of adults have literacy and numeracy capabilities that are no better than computers. And we believe we should start to develop the basic literacy skills at a young age, and playing could be an integral part of this process. That's why we created Booker Kids, a reading-based edutainment tool to help kids acquire better native and or second language skills, because Booker Kids was designed to engage and delight the youngest learners in reading while playing. Our unique format, stories bring language to life. Our illustrations establish the atmosphere of the story and makes the characters come alive, promoting contextual and organic learning. The animation catches the interest and attention of the reader and further helps the comprehension of the text as well. Our text highlighting and native narration feature combine visual and auditory learning, which accelerate the listening comprehension as well. And we are using also follow-up games at the end of the stories, make sure children understand the text and practice the relevant grammar, vocab, and reading skills, and so on. We built a whole environment around this new ebook format, this new reading experience. We have the Booker editor to make interactive book production quick and affordable. We can produce super affordable, this kind of super rich multimedia content. And the Booker format, of course, what just I presented before, and the Booker player to be able to play this multimedia interactive video, layered video to the students, and also provide a secure environment for our publishing partners, because this is also very important. And of course, the Booker platforms, we have mobile apps, desktop apps, teachers dashboard, admin dashboards, and partner dashboards as well. The methodology we used was researched by European universities and study groups involving thousands of kindergarten and elementary school students. The results have shown that thanks to our format, these digital books can be successfully implemented into education. And thanks to the high quality visual and audio experience, they are able to raise and keep attention in the long term, providing the chance to higher exposure time as well. And of course, kids just love reading with us. Our flagship product is Booker Class. Booker Class just won Jazz last week, so we are also super happy with this news. So Booker Class is an storytelling-based English teaching tool, because reading is not only important for developing the so-called 21st century skills like critical thinking or emotional intelligence, but also a key, but it's also a key to authentic language acquisition. The product is basically an interactive library app with interesting and high quality interactive stories, which is written, illustrated, and narrated by some of the best artists around the world. But we are also licensing content for Oxford University Press, for example, and we are digitalizing and re-illustrate their amazing graded readers. So I can say we also revolutionized the category of graded readers. The product is aligned with CFR, the Common European Framework of Reference, which will be used in almost in 80% of the schools around the world. And we have books from pre-A1 to B1, and also aligned with the Lexile measurement system. And another good news, sorry for mentioning so many good news today, but we just received the evidence-based evaluation report from Education Alliance Finland, and we received 96% for a pedagogical approach. So our method is qualified from another perspective as well. We are selling Booker Class through reseller partners. So we are the B2B2C company, what just Maria mentioned. And we have distributors from Indonesia to, oh, what's happening here? I don't know. Okay. For example, Berlitz are representing us in South America and Gramedia in Indonesia. So we were lucky to partner with this amazing company who are I can say our local office on the territories. And we also generating revenue from the first step. But this year we're gonna reach a huge milestone, the $1 million USD in revenue. So this was one of a huge milestone for this year. And as a startup, we made almost every usual step in startup financing, from grants, angel investment, VCs. Last year, we closed a pre-Series A round with the Hungarian VCs, 2 million euros, and we'll start to raise next year for Series A. So that was our story, and thank you so much for your attention, and thank you for having me today.
Dorka, thank you so much. That's amazing. Firstly, what a fantastic product. That's wonderful. And also great traction.
Yeah, hard work, big dreams.
Hard work, big dreams.
Thing.
It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's really great. And what we're seeing all around the world as well is, a lot more attention to evidence of impact, of results, of learning results. It's just becoming much more normal, and that's a great thing. And so, you're obviously right up there. So congratulations on your traction and on your product. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, so let's move on to our next speaker, Brenna O'Neill. Brenna, welcome on stage. Brenna,
thank you.
Yeah, great. It's great to have you here. Brenna is going to be introducing us to Genially. So just take it away. The stage is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm honored to be representing Genially here today. And on behalf of the Genially team, we are also so proud to make the European EdTech 100 list this year. So thank you. So let's get started. First, kind of the idea here. It's clear, of course, that technology has changed the world. So why do we keep communicating with the same materials and the same tools? Genially was actually born to answer this question, to be the tool that allows you to make visual and interactive content at a whole new level. Now, there are two ways to communicate. On the left here, we have an example of the traditional type of communication that we've used for years and that we've all seen, right? Static content, unidirectional, might contain a link, but that would take our audience out of our creation, right? Making them potentially miss some of our content. Now, on the right, we have communication made with Genially, which includes the same information, but it's presented in a different way. So at Genially, we focus on visual communication because what's most important is the product that we want to show, right? So of course, that's what we want to see the most of. And now this is thanks to interactivity. This is going to allow us to add our content in digestible layers. This is going to allow your audience to consume the content that they want to, that they're interested in, and for the amount of time that they want to. This is going to provide context, and this is going to really help keep them engaged and keep their attention. So here we're really creating experiential communication. So your user or your audience becomes an active member of your content. Now, what's the difference here between these two types of content? Well, with static content, like the one we saw on the left, we have the potential to bore our audience. We might lose their attention. But with Genially, with interactive content, we really communicate our message and we engage. Now, you might be thinking that, creating interactive animated content, that has to be a challenge. I'm sure I'll need a programmer on my team. I'll need a graphic designer, or I'll have to pay someone to do that it's costly in terms of resources, money, time, all of that. Well, this is why Genially was created. Genially democratizes content creation. It's the alternative to traditional content, and it allows you to really create communication experiences that are full of interactivity and animation, and you can do so in a simple and an accessible way. So with Genially, it's really easy to achieve these great results without needing design or programming knowledge. The interface is user-friendly. It's a combination of drag and drop, so really kind of that office web technology and design. And there are also hundreds of templates. So you can start from scratch, or you can get in there and use one of the hundreds of templates to really help with the design side of things. And what we've created here is really a 360-degree tool. It's an all-in-one content creation tool. You can create anything from interactive images, infographics, full learning units, and gamifications like quizzes and digital escape rooms. So you really have the advantage of only needing to learn one tool as opposed to 5 or 6 different tools to create all of that. Now, just briefly, besides that versatility, I want to tell you about the 4 kind of superpowers or pillars of Genially, which are interactivity, as we've seen, animation, monitoring, and integration. You can actually integrate any kind of external content into your Genially. And also thinking about the institutions and schools, Our expertise is also based on methods that work in education. So visual storytelling, gamification, participation-based classes, and collaboration. Now, to tell you a little bit about the company, we are very proud to say that we have over 17 million users all around the world. There's not one country that doesn't have at least one Genially user. There are over 40 million Genially creations out in the universe, and they have been visualized or seen over 2 billion times. So needless to say, we are very proud of what we've been accomplishing. And just to tell you a little bit about our marketing approach, as you can see, the majority is based on word of mouth. Our users use us, they love us, and they tell other people about us. We actually get approximately 35,000 new users every day. And as you can see, that's only 5% of that marketing is based on search engine marketing. The rest is organic. So that's exciting as well. We're also really proud to have gotten a lot of awards. Last year, we won the GESSA Award for Best Startup, the Best Presentation Tool for the EdTech Digest. So we're really happy to be getting this and just seeing how happy people are with the tool. So just to show you 2 very quick examples, this is an example of one of the most simple or basic creations that you can make in Genially, a 1-page interactive image. But as I mentioned, you can go even further and make a digital escape room for your students to do in the classroom or at home. And we're working on a new version that's more collaborative than ever. In 2022, we're going to come out with new languages for the tool. So first on the list are Portuguese and German. And we'll keep going after that, keep growing. And we will also be reviewing our pricing as well in 2022 to ensure that we can keep growing. So just to kind of close out, a quote from our CEO, Juan Rubio: "We want to create a new standard in communication with interactive content at its core, ensuring our premium model for high social impact." And that's about Genially. Of course, feel free to reach out with any questions you might have, and we'll be happy to.
Great, Maria. Thank you so much. Fantastic,
Thank you,
wonderful.
Maria.
And
thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.
What great impact you've had. It's huge. I mean, millions and millions of users can't, obviously they speak with their feet or whatever digital equivalent of feet. So congratulations. That's right. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Great. And Maurice, welcome. Maurice is here to talk about Study Smarter. Welcome onto the stage.
Thank you very much.
Let me share your presentation. And so,
first of all, I want to say, Brenna, Genially looks very, very cool. So fantastic.
It is very cool.
Thank you.
All these fantastic tools, where were they when we were at school? They were nowhere to be seen. So,
cool.
Maurice, welcome. And why don't you just kick off straight away with an
Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Maria and Svenja, also for having us and also including us in the list. To be a bit respectful of time, I try to make it a bit more compact and also not very, it's not a classic pitch, but rather a company overview. So I think, can I move the slides? I can, right? Okay. So I think in order for you guys to understand what Study Smarter does, it's really important to understand why we actually founded the company. And we are 4 founders in total. And originally, we actually founded Study Smarter out of university ourselves because we observed the issues ourselves. All of the 4 of us studied different things, but the issues we observed within our own studies and also with our direct vicinity were the same: a lack of structure, lack of motivation, and lack of efficiency. If you have a look at the traditional school or university systems, you probably know it yourself. You have 700, 800 people sitting in the same lecture hall doing the same thing. They have their Adobe PDF viewer open with the slides. They have something like Microsoft Word, something like Quizlet, etc. But they're not being very efficient. And unfortunately, a lot of people actually drop out of their studies because of these issues. So we had a look at the entire market and wanted to identify, okay, what are the core problems in digital education at the moment? And the one thing that we saw is if you truly want to study or learn digitally, you need 4, 5, 6 different applications to actually cover your entire learning process. So you have something like your LMS system, you have something like a PDF viewer, you have something like Quizlet, a concentration app. So you have so many things you need to actually have open in order to truly cover your entire learning process. And the second thing that we observed is if you have a look at the entire industry, a lot of people and a lot of institutions are focused on content creation. So how can I create high quality content for a very narrow target group, which is oftentimes also very costly, right? So we decided to go the complete other way around and say, okay, we want to create one platform that actually covers the entire learning process. So from the moment you get your materials from your professor right up until your exam. So really an all-in-one approach to digital learning, and really content agnostic. So it doesn't matter if you study medicine, it doesn't matter if you study law, or even if you're at university. So it's for everyone who actually wants to study. So the way I always explain Study Smarter is in a threefold approach. So we have three major pillars. The first pillar is the Study Smarter toolbox. So everything you need basically to create your own content. So we created tools like the magic marker, where you simply have to highlight the most important parts of your lecture, and these will be automatically transferred into flashcards, to notes, etc. Once you upload your slides, it's like a digital fingerprint. You're being automatically matched with your direct learning group in university or in school. But also on a meta level, we tag, okay, this person has, for instance, uploaded a slide on net present value. Who else in the Study Smarter community has this expertise? And we connect them directly on a micro level and also on a meta level. So, you know, apps like Duolingo, etc., who also do an awesome job on individualizing the process of language learners. What we essentially try to do is really merge or kind of combine all of those learning steps and have a really data-driven approach, but to also be able to individualize the entire learning journey and have individual learning plans for every person. So, for instance, a student would upload their slides and say, okay, I have an exam in 2 months. And then based on previous data from very similar students, but also on the learning goals and paths that this person has set for themselves, we create an individual learning plan and have those micro-learning modules ready for them, be it with push notifications and so on. So I think in November alone, I think we will grow by around 500,000 users. So you can imagine that 500,000 new people per month create a huge amount of content. So we see millions and millions of pieces of user-generated content being created per month on Study Smarter, which also means that it's first of all a really high session duration, because people actually work with the tool and then train themselves as well on, and then have the entire analytics behind it. So that's the Study Smarter toolbox as, okay, I want to make the individual person more efficient, more structured, and more motivated. The second pillar is really the Study Smarter community, which is the kind of the heart of everything, right? So we have millions of people studying on the platform, exchanging notes and also collaborating with each other. And I'm proud to say that 80% of the content that's actually being created on Study Smarter is shared completely voluntarily. We don't incentivize them with anything, but just the ease of creation content makes them want to share it. And that's why if you, for instance, look up for any kind of concept, be it net present value or something like brain, or you will find thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of concepts, entire lectures, etc., that are shared across the entire community, which is very cool, because we have a lot of case studies where it's like, okay, we want to kind of democratize the access to high quality education, because we have, for instance, people that study in Munich, they study microeconomics and then create high quality content on Study Smarter. And then a person in South Africa enters Study Smarter completely for free, is interested in the topic of microeconomics, and can find all the assets that have been created by the community in a specific region and has been kind of tagged perfectly to their needs. So that's the second pillar. And then the third pillar is really the Study Smarter professional content way. So that's actually a new feature that we have built up. It's called Study Smarter Originals. I'm not going to say where we've got the original name from, but yeah, it was Netflix. So Study Smarter Originals is kind of, we hired more than 200 people, actually experts, teachers, to create high quality content for on a very granular level, to be able to provide kind of curated content for specific regions. In the essence, you can then create your own content, but you can also digest content from the peers and digest content from professional sources. Our all-in-one approach and our content agnostic approach was very successful so far. So the company is around 3.5 years old, so since the first launch. We've now acquired more than 4 million users, and now we grow actually by 500,000 users per month. So in November, it's going to be our most successful month, actually, because we expand at the moment into 30 markets in parallel, which is quite cool, because if you're being content agnostic and you actually don't care about curriculums, you can just simply expand to a new market. This person in a new market will then create their content themselves, and this will actually have this product virality and content virality to it. So as you can see, then I think we are actually right now at over 100 million pieces of user-generated content that were created on the platform, a worldwide growing user base. So if you have a look at the app stores, you will probably find us in diverse regions at the moment, for instance, in South Africa, but also in Brazil, Spain, etc., which kind of confirms our initial assumption that those problems in the learning process are universal. They're not actually bound or limited to a specific region, but a lot of people just have the same issues in learning, and which is very exciting, because education then has the power with a few tools to kind of revolutionize the learning process and then the careers essentially of millions of people. And that fascinates us. Who is us? Now actually over 470 people. So we grew from around 100 4 months ago to now 470. So it's been quite a ride the last couple of months. Also raised or extended our Series A to 31 million. So we had a 31 million Series A just a couple of months ago with Owl Ventures, Left Lane Capital, and Goodwater. So also very cool investors, 4 founders, as I said. And yeah, our vision is basically to kind of democratize the access to education by giving the creator the power and really empower everyone to achieve their educational goals through that.
Wow, thank you so much. That was fantastic. I love the realization of learners as creators, not just as consumers of
Yes.
materials. I mean, really, it's long overdue that we can get to that, and it's wonderful that so many millions of people are being impacted like that. So congratulations, it's a great story. And you know, when you see something on the surface, you know, you don't appreciate what's under the hood. And so thank you for revealing all those amazing things.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's move on to our final speaker for tonight, Marie Marouz. Marie, thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very delighted to be here.
And congratulations. Let me just share your presentation so you can, there you go. There's your presentation. Marie is the CEO of Marbotic.
Yes.
I love this. I just love even the slide deck is wonderful. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing all about Marbotic.
Yeah, thank you. We're very much delighted to make the 100 lists. So we're a French company. We're based in Bordeaux. And so what we do is we do hardware in a world of software. So our motto is that we help kids learn to read easy, and we mix classic wooden toys with fun app-based learning games, and it's active screen time to guide early readers. So I can show you here, I have one of our products. So it just looks like a basic alphabet wooden letter, and they just interact, you know, with iPad screens through these 3 capacitive dots that you can see here. So how people use our tool, so it's just as easy as that. People buy the Marbotic wooden toys, and then they download the apps on their iPads, and they play and learn. So what we have witnessed is that pandemic is really transforming the education and the relationship that people have, you know, with EdTech tools, and even for pre-K kids. So in the USA, parents tend to delay their children's schooling, also because there unfortunately has been a lot of unemployment due to the pandemic, and especially for mothers, which is really harrowing. So homeschooling continues to grow in 2021, and with the metrics that we have, it's also gonna be really trendy in 2022. There has been, since the schools have come back to work, there have been a dip, but we've never come back to the level that it was before pandemic. So we believe in Marbotic that phygital is a new learning space, and that kids, you know, we're focusing on kids age 3 to 6, 3 to 5. And in that age, you know, manipulation of physical tools is really so important. So our hero product is what we call the DLK. So it's the one here on the wallet. Here you can see it's an array of three arrays of letters, and 2 arrays of letters and 1 array of numbers. And we also sell the standalone letters. But we also have, all a whole lineup of products, one of which is a partnership with Sesame Street. But we mostly focus on letters and numbers, a bit of shapes. And what I can show you, because we are talking European here, is that because we're crazy Europeans, we also have developed, items that are specific for the Nordics. So here you have 5 specific letters that can allow you to unlock all our products with the 5 Nordic languages, which is Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, and Finnish, actually. So what I can show also is, so what you can see here on the slide is the lineup for B2C, but we also have the success story when it comes to B2B. And we've created this kit that I'm showcasing you here on the webcam that has been designed for specifically the Dutch market. So in the Dutch schools, kids learn to read thanks to, the 26 letters of the alphabet, but also thanks to 16 complex phonics that are the basis of the Dutch language. And so we've built that kit in partnership with Educo, who is the most prominent school distributor in that country. And this has been one of their best sellers since the last 5 years. And we are really happy to say that now we equip more than 3/4 of the schools in the Netherlands thanks to that kit. So this is the software part of our product. So we have up till last Thursday, we've reunited. We've started by creating many apps, and now we've reunited all our apps into one. I can say that our developers haven't been sleeping quite a lot in the past 2 weeks, but Black Friday is coming, and so we really need to be up and ready for that. So we've gathered all our content into one unique app, and one of our strongest hopes is that in the future we can do monetization inside the app. That would mean that people, when they buy the kits, the wooden kits, they will have access to some of the activities, some of the sections in the app, and some other section will be behind a paywall. And that is supposed to launch next Friday. So we're not going to sleep either, in the next upcoming week. What can I say to? Yeah, I can see that face. That's our face. So I can just say that quality is our top priority. We have extremely high reviews on Amazon. I haven't included in that slide quite a lot of data from the market, but I can say right now that we do, I would say 60% of our turnover D2C, we sell directly on our own website and on Amazon. And we also have quite a chunk of B2B that is for retail. So we are, for instance, retailed in Best Buy Canada and in that kind of, retail stores. We have been retailed in all Apple retail stores in the world in 2018 and 2019. Unfortunately, because of COVID, that reference has stopped. And the rest of it is selling to school distributors. So just our motto is that, we wanted to create the ultimate learning experience by mixing traditional wooden toys with educational apps. We are very inspired by Montessori, the Montessori philosophy. And that's it for today for me.
Marie, thank you so much. Isn't it wonderful to see digital and physical and those two things marrying, because it's so often posed as either or. And so I love that integration, and really that's the way of the future, not only, of course, in young kids, but as you grow up, as we see in that growth in STEAM generally, it's wonderful to see that this sort of combination. So congratulations, and wow, it's not surprising after hearing all about your product, it's not surprising to see all those awards and all the traction that you have. So congratulations, Marie.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, we're almost at the end of our presentation tonight. Just a minute or two more. Svenja, would you like to say any sort of closing words or any comments or reflections on what you've heard from the presenters today?
Yeah, no, we've seen 4 amazing companies, and what I see is that, you know, the number of startups is growing across Europe. Startups being created in EdTech, and I think it's an amazing thing. And now we have to support them, to fund them, and help them grow in Europe and outside. But I'm really thrilled with these 4 pitches. Thank you guys.
Great. Well, we've come to the end of our presentation today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Anyone who registered and, of course, attended, immediately after, in about a few minutes, you'll receive an email with the recording, which will come straight into your inbox. And, of course, on our website, we'll have more information and so on about the 2021 Europe EdTech 100. And congratulations again to the teams who are on the map. Thanks, Svenja. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Maria. Bye, everyone.
Bye.